You know when you're reading a book and you hit a long list of names, and your first instinct is just to skip right over it? Well, let's be honest, Genesis chapter 5 can feel exactly like that. It's basically 10 generations from Adam all the way to Noah with their ages and, well, when they died. It looks like the driest, most skippable part of the whole story.
So really, why should we spend any time on it? I mean, what could a 10-generation-long obituary possibly have to say to us right here, right now? It's a totally fair question.
But what if this isn't just a list? What if it's actually a really carefully crafted story? Because hidden inside its repeating, almost hypnotic rhythm is this profound message about what it means to be human. And, believe it or not, the very first glimmer of a path that leads beyond the grave. So, yeah. Let's take a closer look.
Okay, so to really get the message here, first we have to understand the structure. This chapter isn't random. It's a very specific kind of signpost in the book.
The chapter kicks off with this Hebrew word you see here, toledot. It means generations. Now, this word is a huge deal. It pops up 10 times in Genesis, and every single time it shows up, it's signaling a shift, a new part of the story. So think of these lists less like filler and more like the actual architectural pillars that hold the entire story of Genesis together.
And this specific list, this genealogy, is the second of those 10 pillars. It traces the family line of Adam down through his son Seth, and it's designed to show us how a really important promise is being carried from one generation to the next, even as the world itself is starting to fracture.
And check this out. Before the list of names even starts, the author hits us with 3 foundational truths. 1. Humanity is made in God's image. 2. Humanity is blessed by God. And 3. Our value comes from our Creator, who literally named us, not from anything we could ever build or accomplish. This is the incredible high point from which the rest of the story is about to fall.
So, with that profound sense of dignity established, the chapter just immediately pivots to this harsh, relentless reality. A rhythm starts up that is almost hypnotic in how somber and repetitive it is.
The pattern is deceptively simple. For each person, we're told how long they lived, that they had a son to carry on the family line, and then the sentence always ends with the same final, unavoidable 2 words.
It starts right at the top with Adam. He lived for 930 years. I mean, that's an incredibly long life. But the final word on that life is still, and he died.
And the pattern just continues. His son, Seth, another super long life. He has kids. 912 years go by, and he died.
And again with his grandson, Enoch, 905 years, and he died. Are you feeling the weight of that? Over and over and over again, that drumbeat sounds. Lived, birthed, died. It doesn't matter how long they lived. The final sentence is always the same.
And this is the crucial point the author is hammering home. The text forces us, it forces you, to confront this really stark reality. No matter how long we live, no matter what we do, death is the one problem humanity cannot solve for itself. It gets every single one of us.
But then, just when that pattern feels absolutely unbreakable, when the rhythm of death seems like it's the only song there is, the author does something completely radical. He shatters the rhythm.
Just look at this. The contrast is so dramatic. 7 generations in, we get to this guy named Enoch. For everybody else, the story ends with those 2 words, and he died. But for Enoch, the record is completely different. It just says, and God took him.
I mean, this is the pivot point of the whole chapter. The author is practically shouting at us to wake up and ask the question, why? What on earth was so different about this one guy?
And the text gives us the answer. For 300 years, it says Enoch walked with God. Now, this phrase isn't talking about some single religious moment or event. It's describing a life, a whole life. It's a picture of a consistent day-in, day-out journey of relationship and just being in sync with God. He wasn't just living for God, he was living with God.
Enoch's story is this brilliant flash of light in a really dark chapter. It's the very first clear sign that even though death might be humanity's reality, it is not God's final word. A life that's lived in communion with God, it points to a destiny beyond the grave.
And this glimmer of hope we see in Enoch's story, it isn't just a one-off thing.
It plants a seed that starts to grow in the very next generations, leading to another major figure.
So a few generations later, a man named Lamech has a son, and when his son is born, he says this incredible thing. He just lays it all out, the hardship of life, the cursed ground, the painful work. You can just hear the cry of a weary humanity groaning under the weight of this broken world. And right in the middle of all that pain, he gives his son a name that is just overflowing with hope. He names him Noah, which in Hebrew means rest or comfort.
This isn't just wishful thinking, you know? It's a profound statement of faith. Lamech is looking at his newborn son and declaring his belief that somehow, through this child, God is going to provide a way out of the struggle. He's seeing a future rest that only God himself can bring.
So what is this ancient list of names really telling us? Well, when you step back, what looked like a boring genealogy is actually this powerful three-part story.
This slide just nails it. First, you have the stark reality. Left to our own devices, our story ends in death, period. Second, we're given this incredible hope. Enoch's story shows us that a life that walks with God can actually have a different ending. And third, we see the direction this is all heading. This new path points toward a future of comfort and real rest, all wrapped up in the hope for Noah.
So in the end, this ancient chapter, it's not just about people who lived and died thousands of years ago. It's like a mirror. It forces us to think about the story of our own lives. It sets up two paths, the predictable, rhythmic march of a world under the sentence of death, and the surprising, brilliant path of light for those who choose to walk with God. Which really just leaves us with one final question to think about. What sentence will your life write?